Imagine your mind as a vast ocean, deep and mysterious. Every night when your body rests, your subconscious awakens. It listens, absorbs, and reshapes the world within you. Most people underestimate the quiet power of the mind in these hours. While your conscious self sleeps, the seeds of transformation are planted. You don't have to struggle with willpower alone. You don't have to wrestle with habits that no longer serve you. There's a door, a method, a way to guide your inner world while your outer world sleeps. Before you drift into slumber, speak directly to your subconscious. Visualize your ideal life, not as a distant dream, but as if it is happening now. Feel the emotions, sense the details, breathe it into your being. The subconscious cannot distinguish between imagination and reality. Every scene you create with clarity, every emotion you amplify, every belief you repeat becomes a thread in the fabric of your life. Your fears, your limitations, your doubts, they too listen, and they too can be rewritten. Repetition is your ally. Consistency is your guide. A single night will not reprogram you, but every night becomes a layer of new possibility. And as you awaken, you will notice subtle shifts, a thought, an impulse, a choice that aligns with the life you've been quietly rehearsing while you slept. The night is not a pause, it is a silent laboratory for the mind. You are the architect, the conductor, the guardian of your inner world. Use it wisely. Speak to your subconscious with intention. Paint the life you desire in vivid detail. And watch as your waking reality bends to match the inner vision you've created. Sleep is not just rest, it is transformation in motion. And tonight, you have the chance to begin. While most people believe that sleep is simply a time for rest, it is in truth a period of remarkable activity for the mind. The conscious self, the part of you that worries about schedules, decisions, and appearances, fades into silence. Yet beneath the surface, the subconscious awakens, working tirelessly to process, organize, and influence the patterns that govern your life. This part of the mind does not think in linear sentences or logical sequences. It communicates through imagery, emotions, instincts, and symbols. When you sleep, it is listening to every thought, every emotion, every unspoken desire you hold within. It records what you have allowed yourself to experience during the day, but it also accepts what you intentionally feed it before rest. Your subconscious does not differentiate between memory and imagination. It accepts your mental images as reality. This is why the last thoughts, before you close your eyes, are so potent. They are the whispers you send to the depths of your inner world, shaping your beliefs and expectations without the interference of doubt or analysis. The subconscious is remarkably receptive at night because the critical judging mind is dormant. The layers of fear, skepticism, and rationalization that dominate your waking hours are softened, allowing the mind to absorb impressions with greater ease. Dreams, often chaotic and symbolic, are another reflection of this activity. They are not random. They are messages, rehearsals, and experiments conducted by the subconscious. The mind is testing scenarios, replaying experiences, and integrating lessons from the conscious day into the larger narrative of your life. Each dream, each fragment of memory, each fleeting emotion carries significance. And when interpreted with attention, these nightly processes can reveal hidden patterns, unresolved conflicts, and unacknowledged desires. Moreover, the subconscious works tirelessly to reinforce habits and tendencies. The repeated actions and thoughts of the day are analyzed, cataloged, and encoded into the neural pathways that dictate your behavior. Sleep is the time when these pathways are strengthened, when the mind consolidates the information necessary to make future choices more efficient, more instinctive, and more aligned with the patterns it has learned to recognize. It is also the time when deep-seated beliefs can be challenged, reshaped, or strengthened, depending on the input you give it. Intentionality becomes paramount, because the subconscious accepts repeated mental impressions as truth. By consciously feeding it images of success, peace, confidence, and resilience, you allow it to reinforce these qualities as part of your internal architecture. Conversely, unchecked worry, fear, or negativity can embed limitations that subtly guide behavior, often without awareness. Understanding that the subconscious is active during sleep reframes rest, not as a passive state, but as a dynamic formative process. It is a time of creation, of repair, of silent training. Your inner world is alive while your outer world rests. Each night becomes an opportunity to plant seeds of transformation, to whisper truths that will emerge as tangible realities in your waking life. By acknowledging and respecting the activity of the subconscious during these hours, you begin to realize that sleep is not merely a break from life, it is a critical partner in shaping it. The mind cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced in the physical world. When you close your eyes and allow yourself to see, hear, and feel the life you desire, your subconscious begins to accept it as truth. Visualization is not mere daydreaming. It is a deliberate, conscious act of creation. Every detail you imagine, every color, every sound, every sensation sends a signal to the subconscious, instructing it to align your internal state with this new reality. The brain, responding to the images and emotions you generate, starts forming neural pathways that mirror the experiences of living that reality. Over time, these pathways shape your perception, your decisions, and even your instincts. When you visualize success, abundance, or love, the subconscious cannot tell the difference between a vividly rehearsed mental scene and actual lived experience. It treats the imagined as real, and in doing so, begins to orchestrate the behaviors, choices, and attitudes that make that reality more likely to occur. Emotion is the currency of this process. A visualization devoid of feeling is merely a picture. A visualization charged with emotion becomes a signal, a vibration, a command that resonates in the very core of the mind. Joy, excitement, gratitude, and confidence enhance the potency of the images you create, embedding them into the subconscious with a sense of inevitability. This is why athletes, performers, and creators often rehearse their success mentally before it manifests physically. They do not rely solely on repetition in the external world. They allow the inner world to practice, to rehearse, and to condition itself for the outcomes they desire. Every night, as sleep lowers the defenses of the conscious mind, visualization becomes even more powerful. In this state, the subconscious is highly receptive to imagery and emotional experience. The last thoughts you hold before drifting into sleep, the mental scenes you repeat, become seeds that are nurtured while the conscious mind rests. Your dreams, your intuitions, and your instincts in the waking hours will begin to echo these rehearsed realities, guiding your actions toward alignment with what you have visualized. This is why clarity and specificity are essential. Vague wishes produce vague results. The more detailed and tangible your inner scenes, the stronger the imprint on the subconscious. Include not only outcomes but also the sensations of living that reality, the feeling of confidence in your body, the sound of laughter, the warmth of connection, the sense of accomplishment. The subconscious records this and adjusts your internal map accordingly, creating a blueprint that the conscious self can follow almost effortlessly. Visualization, therefore, is not passive. It is the conscious language through which you instruct your mind to orchestrate the conditions necessary for the life you seek. By repeatedly and emotionally imagining the reality you desire, you are not escaping from the present, you are shaping the future. Reality in this sense is not an external imposition, but a reflection of the inner world you cultivate. Through disciplined, emotionally charged visualization, your subconscious is rewired to recognize your desired life as inevitable, and the external world begins to mirror the internal truth you have so carefully crafted. Emotion is the hidden language of the subconscious. While thoughts can flutter and fade, feelings embed themselves deeply, leaving lasting impressions that shape perception, behavior, and reality. The mind responds not to ideas alone, but to the intensity of the emotional charge that accompanies them. When you approach visualization, affirmations, or mental rehearsal with detached neutrality, the subconscious treats it as a faint suggestion, something optional, not urgent. When you infuse your intentions with genuine emotion, excitement, gratitude, love, certainty, or even righteous indignation, the subconscious registers it as truth, as vital, as immediate. Every emotion acts like a key, unlocking a door within the intricate architecture of the mind. Bypasses the filters of logic and judgment, speaking directly to the part of you that governs habits, instincts, and deep-seated beliefs. Consider fear, for example. A fleeting worry in the conscious mind may pass unnoticed, but a fear that grips you with intensity creates neural pathways that harden over time, conditioning you to avoid, resist, or react. The same principle applies to positive emotions. The more vividly and passionately you feel a desired state, the more firmly it becomes anchored within your subconscious. Emotion turns abstract thoughts into living experiences. When you imagine a life of success or health, it is not enough to picture it with clarity. You must feel the thrill of achievement, the peace of fulfillment, the warmth of connection, the pride of accomplishment. These emotions become the energetic signature of your intention, a force that the subconscious cannot ignore. Sleep amplifies this effect exponentially. In the liminal space between wakefulness and slumber, the conscious mind, as defenses soften, and the emotional signals you carry gain unprecedented influence. Joy, gratitude, and love, when felt deeply in this state, etch themselves into the subconscious as undeniable truths. Dreams often reflect these emotional imprints, guiding insight, intuition, and even behavior toward alignment with your intentions. Emotion also bridges the gap between the inner and outer worlds. When your internal state is consistently charged with positive feeling, your body responds, your choices align, and your interactions reflect that energy. You begin to act with a subtle magnetism, drawing circumstances, opportunities, and people into resonance with the reality you are cultivating. Conversely, unresolved emotional tension or negative affect can anchor limitation and discord, subtly shaping your perception of what is possible. Mastery of emotion, therefore, is not about suppression or control, but about deliberate direction. Recognize the intensity of your feelings, understand their language, and consciously use them to amplify the signals you send to the subconscious. In this way, emotion transforms visualization from a passive mental exercise into a catalytic force for transformation. Each feeling, when consciously harnessed, becomes a lever through which the subconscious reshapes patterns, habits, and outcomes. By embracing the full power of emotion, you awaken the mind's innate ability to create, to attract, and to manifest the life you intend. The truth is that ideas alone rarely move the needle. It is emotion that drives the change. It is emotion that impresses upon the subconscious, and it is emotion that ultimately turns intention into reality. Repetition is the quiet architect of transformation. Change does not occur in a single act, nor through fleeting inspiration. The subconscious mind, which governs habits, perceptions, and automatic responses, requires sustained input to rewrite the patterns that define behavior. Every thought, every visualization, every intentional action acts as a brushstroke on the canvas of the mind. By repeating these strokes consistently, the image becomes clearer, more solid, until it is no longer imagination but an internalized reality. The brain responds to repetition with precision. Neural pathways are strengthened through recurring activity, making certain thoughts and behaviors increasingly automatic. This is why small, consistent efforts can yield profound, lasting change, while sporadic bursts of intensity often fade without impact. Repetition functions as a dialogue with the subconscious. Each repetition communicates certainty, priority, and significance. The mind begins to recognize the repeated signals as meaningful, worth integrating into its internal map. Habits, beliefs, and perceptions shift gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, but inevitably, like water carving through stone over time. The power of repetition is magnified when combined with emotion and visualization. A vividly imagined goal, felt with intensity, becomes far more effective when rehearsed night after night, day after day. Each repetition is a reinforcement, a signal to the subconscious that this is the reality you are choosing, that this is the direction in which your life should flow. The mind, which is naturally inclined toward efficiency, begins to automate these repeated patterns. Choices that once required effort and conscious attention start to occur effortlessly. Decisions align with your visualized reality, responses emerge naturally, habits solidify without struggle. This is the essence of internal transformation. The external world begins to reflect the inner consistency of repeated thought and feeling. Repetition also builds trust between the conscious and subconscious minds. The subconscious learns that the signals it receives are not fleeting whims, but deliberate intentions, worthy of attention and integration. Over time, what was once foreign or aspirational becomes familiar and natural. Sleep further amplifies the power of repetition. When the conscious mind rests, repeated mental rehearsals, affirmations, and visualizations continue to imprint on the subconscious, cementing the neural patterns that define your inner reality. Each night becomes an opportunity to reinforce change, to strengthen pathways, and to deepen alignment with your highest vision. Even small incremental repetitions compound into extraordinary results. A single night of focused intention may have subtle effects, but the cumulative impact of consistent practice is transformative. Repetition is not mechanical, it is deliberate, conscious, and infused with meaning. It is the mechanism through which imagination becomes reality, desire becomes habit, and intention becomes destiny. By embracing repetition, you honor the natural rhythms of the mind, the way it learns, adapts, and integrates. You move beyond the illusion of instant transformation and step into the profound, patient, unstoppable power of consistent practice, allowing change to root itself deeply, permanently, and naturally within your being. Conscious intention is the compass that guides the vast, often hidden currents of the subconscious mind, while repetition, emotion, and visualization provide the raw material for transformation. It is intention that gives these forces direction and purpose. Without deliberate focus, the subconscious absorbs indiscriminately, shaping behavior according to whatever patterns and influences dominate the mind, whether positive or negative. To transform your inner world, you must first define with clarity what you seek, what you wish to create, and what you are willing to embody. Intention is not merely wishing, it is the active declaration of your will, a clear and deliberate signal that informs the subconscious of the reality you choose to prioritize. Every thought, every feeling, every image becomes more potent when anchored in conscious intention, because it tells the mind, this is important, this is my chosen path. Pay attention. The subconscious, which often operates like a vast, uncharted ocean, responds to these signals as if they were directives. It begins to organize perception, behavior, and internal processing to align with the focus you provide. In practical terms, conscious intention shapes how you interpret experiences, how you respond to challenges, and how you perceive opportunities. The mind becomes a filter, emphasizing what is aligned with your chosen direction and diminishing what is irrelevant or counterproductive. Sleep amplifies the power of intentionality. As the conscious mind recedes, the subconscious becomes highly receptive to the last signals it received. Thoughts infused with deliberate intention before sleep become seeds that germinate in the fertile soil of the mind as quieter hours. The images, emotions, and convictions you hold deliberately guide the subconscious in constructing patterns that reflect your conscious priorities. This is why vague desires rarely manifest. Without intention, the subconscious is left to fill in the blanks, often relying on old habits, fears, and unexamined beliefs. To truly rewire your inner world, you must provide clear, precise, emotionally charged instructions. Conscious intention also integrates with personal responsibility. By defining your focus, you acknowledge your role as the architect of your inner reality. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance, chance, or the influence of others. You become an active participant in shaping your thoughts, your feelings, and ultimately your life. Intention is the bridge between awareness and action, transforms passive hope into active creation, guiding not only mental rehearsal but also physical choices and behavioral patterns. The subconscious, in turn, aligns with this guidance, orchestrating subtle impulses, insights, and instincts that reinforce the intended reality. Every act of attention, every deliberate thought, and every purposeful visualization strengthens this alignment, creating a feedback loop in which conscious intention and subconscious response work in harmony. Mastery of your inner world begins here, with clarity of purpose, the deliberate setting of priorities, and the disciplined guidance of thought and emotion. Without this conscious direction, even the most vivid visualization or emotionally charged practice risks scattering into inefficiency. With intention as the guiding force, every repetition, every visualization, every feeling is harnessed, focused, and amplified, creating a powerful current that reshapes your subconscious, rewires your habits, and ultimately manifests in your waking reality. Sleep is far more than the absence of wakefulness. It is a gateway to transformation, a sacred space where the conscious and subconscious meet, exchange, and co-create. While the body rests and the mind, as surface chatter quiets, the deeper layers of consciousness awaken to work in ways invisible to the waking eye. In these hours, the subconscious sorts, processes and integrates every thought, every emotion, and every experience of the day. It consolidates learning, reinforces habits, and reorganizes patterns that shape your perception and behavior. This is why what you feed your mind before sleep is so significant. Every image, every feeling, every intention you carry into this state is magnified and absorbed with an intensity that daytime awareness cannot match. Sleep functions as a laboratory for the mind, a space in which experiments with thought, emotion, and visualization are conducted. It is here that repeated mental rehearsals, emotionally charged intentions, and vividly imagined realities are encoded into the neural architecture, strengthening pathways that guide future choices, actions, and instincts. Dreams are a reflection of this transformative process. They are not random or meaningless. They are symbolic rehearsals, insights, and messages from the deeper layers of the mind. They often replay scenarios, explore possibilities, and reveal hidden desires or unresolved conflicts. Paying attention to these patterns can unlock profound understanding and accelerate the rewiring of subconscious habits. The absence of conscious judgment during sleep allows the subconscious to act freely. Logic, doubt, and resistance, the usual gatekeepers of the mind, are softened or suspended, enabling new ideas and beliefs to take root with less friction. Emotional intensity, when paired with visualization and intention, becomes a guiding force, signaling to the mind what is significant and worth internalizing. Sleep also serves as a reset mechanism. It clears mental clutter, reduces cognitive fatigue, and restores emotional balance, creating fertile ground for growth and transformation. Each night of focused intention is a step toward creating an internal reality that aligns with your highest aspiration. Repetition of purposeful pre-sleep practices strengthens this effect. Over time, the subconscious begins to integrate these nightly instructions into automatic responses, habits, and intuitions in waking life. The transformation that occurs during sleep is subtle at first but cumulative. Thoughts that once required effort become instinctive. Behaviors shift naturally. Perception itself is subtly recalibrated toward alignment with the internal reality you are cultivating. Recognizing sleep as a transformative tool shifts the way you approach rest. No longer is it merely recovery from the demands of the day. It becomes a powerful partner in personal evolution, a time for deliberate internal creation. By consciously guiding the mind before and during sleep, you harness its extraordinary capacity to rewire, to recalibrate, and to manifest the life you envision. Sleep is not passive. It is an active, dynamic, and essential process in shaping the architecture of your mind, your habits, and ultimately your reality. In embracing sleep as a tool of transformation, you turn every night into an opportunity to create, align, and evolve beyond the limits of your waking consciousness. And so as you lay your head down tonight, remember this. Sleep is not merely a pause, not merely a surrender of consciousness, but a sacred opportunity. Within the silence, within the darkness, your mind is listening, learning, and reshaping the very fabric of your reality. The images you create, the emotions you feel, and the intentions you set tonight will ripple through your subconscious, quietly steering your thoughts, choices, and actions tomorrow. You are not a passive observer. In your life, you are the architect, the artist, and the conductor of your inner world. Let every night be a rehearsal for the life you desire. Let every dream, every whispered intention, and every vivid image guide you toward the truth of who you are capable of becoming. Embrace this process with patience, with persistence, and with unwavering faith in the power that resides within you. And when you awaken, you will see the subtle, undeniable shifts, the sparks of transformation that began while you slept, guiding you toward the reality you have been quietly crafting all along. Tonight, let your subconscious be your ally, your dreams be your blueprint, and your sleep be the laboratory in which your highest self is born.